goes automatically.
It should.
So I can't find settings on the computer, does it?
I try shooting it against the TV. Like having the TV in the shop.
Ceiling in the shop.
I try.
Hmm?
You want to have your phone with
Need it.
Can I now do the other thing?
Babe, he's ready. You're out of time. He's joined. He's ready to go. That's the problem. It's 11 o'clock. We need to be respectful of people. What's up, man?
What's up, Rob?
How's it going?
Going awesome. You look nice, fresh, branded.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, what
Yes, sir.
belts are those in your background?
Belts. So let's talk about it. One of them's custom. So I got a custom Ignite Cinemas belt. That was like undisputed video marketing champion.
Okay.
And then the one over here, that's the classic WCW. Hold on. That's the classic WCW one that Ric Flair had, Booker T, Triple H. That's my favorite one. And then I made a Leadership Fredericksburg one over there too.
Oh, okay.
So
All
when
right.
I was class president, I had to represent in style, man.
Okay, so you just hate WWE, clearly.
I love WWE. Hold on. I love
Yeah.
WWE. That's my well, the cool thing about the WCW one, it transitioned over
Yeah.
there. Like,
That's
Rey Mysterio had it,
Yeah.
Triple H and everything. But
Right.
I want the Smoking Skulls belt, but I got kids. I'll get to that when I
No, you got to jump straight to the Crown Jewel one now.
Yo, that one's massive, dog. That's blinged out. Like Saudi Arabia knows how to give it up, man.
Right. Watch Survivor Series?
Yes. War Games was lit, man. I'm happy with most of the matches. Braun Breaker is gonna be my favorite. Who's that peeping in? Is that Shandell? Hey,
I'm trying to see if this thing is recording. Hi. Do you know?
Hi. We're just nerding out on wrestling real quick, but yeah. Me and the kids, we loved Survivor Series. Can't wait for the Rumble, man.
Yeah. That's what's next, right?
Yep. It's just one big storyline. It's cool that you were pretty hip in things too.
Yeah, I've had a resurgence. It's an escape these days.
Yeah, man. Storylines is great.
She made me stop watching like Too Hot to Handle and stuff. So I had to find something else, and I landed back on WWE.
Let's go, man. It's perfect. I'm glad you're back in it, man. Bloodline for life.
He's doing a good job with the stories. That's what's nice about it. It's tolerable now, right? Like you can get into the story. There's more complexity to it and everything, like it used to. Some
That's what I love about it, especially as an adult watching it as opposed to my younger days. And I just like the switch ups, and it's not always what you imagine. And he's just booking great matches at this time. So shout out to Triple H.
Yeah, my son keeps telling me how fake it is. He refuses to watch it, and I'm like, okay, scripted, yes, to an
Yes.
extent, right? Fake, there's nothing fake about 300 pounds coming top of a 12-foot steel cage and landing on top of you. There's nothing fake
No
about
kidding.
it.
That drop was gonna be
Right.
crazy, if Roman didn't move. But yeah, absolutely.
That's right. They say, who's the big guy? Bronson Reed broke his
Bronson Reed.
toe or something, or his foot off of that.
Yeah, and even Jimmy Uso, they say he hurt his foot. So both of them put their bodies on like because both of them jumped from that high. Shout out to the lady who did the one in the trash can. Like, that's crazy, yo. Like, yo, I was like,
she does it every time. That's like her.
That's like her signature thing, man. But that's a flip. That's like a moonsault in the trash can landing. Man, there ain't nothing fake about that. But the scripts, okay, but not their bodies on the line, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
that's cool, man. I'm glad you're a wrestler. So we got a lot to talk about
later
on. But I know that Chandel told me that you just need to record some content. So I would just love to. I'm gonna give some talking points from what I took notes from, just to make it a little easier for you because you're the type of person once you get going, you get rolling.
Right.
And ideally, let me ask you: when your editors and your marketing staff get this video, am I going to be in it, or should I just take the video off of it? Like, what would be best for you guys?
What do you want him to do?
So I would like to have. So this is what I don't know about this system. If I have you right here, is recording the screen, correct?
Yeah, you're recording. I saw that. So you guys are recording. So you'll get the recording when it's done to that whatever computer is on.
So that is it. And nice. How do I make you?
Well, typically how it usually works, I just want to make sure on Zoom, I haven't recorded off Microsoft Teams, but essentially whoever's the speaker, that's what the camera is going to be focused on. So when I'm just starting a quick question, Rob's just going to let it all go and all be emphasized on him. That's what I'm used to with Zoom. I assume the same would be with the Microsoft Teams platform.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're wasting some time.
It's okay. We can make sure everything's ready.
Where you were?
The background looks lit though. I love it. That's in one of the new offices too that you're getting all the equipment in.
Yeah, this is
fire.
Recording room here.
It's fire.
So it's getting there. The 50s work, so that's good. So yeah, so the 50s are good to go. So we've got all the lenses now. I just got to get the tripod so that we can hook them up. The lights and everything are up. So I don't know.
It's lit, man.
Yeah, it's getting there. I got these. Well, you probably can't see in the camera, but I got these Govee stand-up LEDs in here.
Those are clutch too, so you can mess around with the cool background lights and
yeah,
you can change the colors on them too. I assume.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's where it's at. I love those. I have those in the background too, and I just love being able to change the tones. It adds that extra oomph into video. That's tight.
I'm not sure.
How can I help you guys?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how is this going to work. I hope. I don't know.
So typically, I assume it's the same way. Like, usually when meetings are being recorded, it has two people on there, but whoever's the main speaker, that's who it emphasizes on. I've cut content from these type of things all the time.
Okay.
I just personally never recorded.
Hope for the best.
Yeah, we are going to get the best right now because Rob's going to be talking, and I have no doubt in my mind that whoever gets the video piece, they're gonna be able to know what to do with it. So we're all in good shape. No need to worry whatsoever. And we're just I just want to lead the conversations lead kind of like our pre conversation because you you were going in, man. Face was getting red and everything. You was letting off, man. So I just want to have that same energy. I think it would be great. And immediately, just kicking this off, Rob, you told me that everything's about money and time. That's one of the big things when someone commits to leadership, whether they're young entrepreneurs or maybe managers or maybe already successful CEOs. Money and time's everything. Can you kind of like dive in deeper with that concept?
Yeah, so I think that when we were talking about that, we were talking about the potential um, objections to the training, right? So, and that's what everything comes back to money and time. Companies are having significant trouble with refinding the balance, right? They have to report to their boards. Everybody's wanting more and more profits and all that, and they're having trouble finding the balance between investing in their employees and managing the bottom line, right? And so, over time, organizations have kind of landed in this conundrum where behind the scenes, it costs a company more to have an employee longer than it does for turnover, because most companies give tenured vacation, right? Your vacation goes up. All these benefits that they give you cost them money. And so, and on the employee side, you've got the perception that I'm not going to have loyalty to the employer because there's no employer that I found that has loyalty to me. So that dynamic has kind of fit in each other's narrative, right? So the employee goes in, tests the waters, gets fed up, leaves. The company sees to an extent behind the scenes on the bottom line a benefit to that because they're saving dollars from tenure and what have you. But what's happening is they're also losing experience. They're losing game-changing personnel. They're losing folks who know the company, can maneuver in the company, take the company to new heights, all these things. And so where do we, like, who wins, right? Who wins in that fact? The other side of the coin, with time, companies are running their employees so hard that they don't want to give them up anymore. Time off, training. To train right, it requires an investment in time and it requires an investment in money. And so at what point are we going to turn this around and say, no, investing back into the employees' growth is the right way? Giving them the time to grow, to learn outside of work, to take a rest from the day to day and go into an environment where they're growing themselves, resetting, and coming back that much better of a person, an employee, and a leader, and taking that organization to the next level. It's all cyclical. So there's decisions that have to be made, but the decisions have to be made in the right direction. So everybody's got to come to that agreement. I think that employees, people are ready. People are back to, and I don't know that they necessarily ever left, but I do think they fell into a bit of a defeatist mindset. But I think that people generally are ready to begin the journey of growth again, and taking that time and investing in themselves. Now the companies have to follow, right? That decision has to be made that we're going to start investing in employees again so that we can take the organizations farther. And we have to stop making excuses, right? Oh, it's okay. We didn't need them anyway. We'll find somebody better. Well, maybe you will, but more than likely you won't, right? You could have lost that diamond in the rough because you didn't want to make that commitment. So there's a mindset shift that has to happen. I think that the employee base is there. I think that companies are inching that direction. but I think they got to get out of that check the box mindset, right? Because it feels like companies are, while they're moving in that direction, they're doing it in the most minimalistic way possible to scratch the itch of the employee for the time being, spending the least amount of money, the least amount of time, but making the employee feel like that potential is there and not really going in and committing to it, really for any level of the organization. So,
Let me stop you right there. I think that every time that you touch the table, the mic is picking up that noise. So we may have to put the mic on your shirt. I mean, I cannot see it from here, but can you see it, the mic in there?
Yeah, I see it below his shirt, which is completely fine. That's a good call. I didn't hear no noise, but it's always good to be on the safe side. And great call. You're doing great, Rob. One thing that, it sticks out with what you're saying, organizations, people in general are all craving leadership. And one of the last things we discussed was the fact that leadership's often this word thrown around, but it's not about titles per se. Like, for example, it's more of a mindset and the actions that come with it. Like, just because your rank or position doesn't define your leadership. Let's go into that because that was big and I really enjoyed that conversation.
okay. Yeah. So part of that is we talked about how we define the fact that leaders need to surround themselves with strong leaders and people who challenge the status quo. But it's against the human nature of leadership, right? Because human nature is, I've got that power, I'm in charge, I know where we need to go and I know how to get there. And I don't need somebody being negative, right? We coined it as somebody being negative. They might just being real, right? If they're down in the trenches, they see the goods and the bads, and they see how the goods and the bads influence the strategic direction of the organization. So sometimes it's not about being negative, it's about being real. And the first step to identifying there's a problem is admitting that there's a problem, because that's the only way to get to the next step, which is, okay, how do we fix the problem? So that plays a key role in a leader's ability to influence and lead within their context of the organization. Because if you don't believe in the direction of the organization, if you don't wholeheartedly buy into that, and you're trying to fake it until you make it, that doesn't usually have a good outcome. And especially when you're dealing with employees that are intermingled in the process, they see the goods and the bads, they know if it's matching, you know what I mean? It just doesn't work well at all. So that's, I think that's the most dangerous part of leadership and influence, is understanding that how to deal with the people around you and who you need to surround yourself with, what types of individuals, what types of leaders you need to surround yourself with. John Maxwell talks about high road leadership. And of course you want to surround yourself with good people who believe in the mission, who are ethical, right? Who are in it with you to reach those goals and objectives. But leaders have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And part of that uncomfort is being in the room with people that are going to challenge you. Because it's not a challenge to your ability to lead or a challenge to you necessarily as a leader, but a challenge to, is that the best way or route to get the organization to where it needs to go? Right? That's one of the huge things that affects leadership today. It's the inability for leaders to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's like when you made it, everything's supposed to be easy. Doesn't get any easier. It doesn't get easier as you climb the ladder. There might be more benefits to it depending on how you're looking at benefits, right? But it doesn't get easier. And the fact that leadership is all about people, I mean, that should tell you right there, leadership is not easy. It's not easy to get up every day and lead. You have a group of people that, you deal with on a day-to-day basis, that report to you, that you're trying to influence. Those people all have different personalities. They have different dynamics. They have work-life balance. They have issues at home. They have issues at work. Those things collide, especially with the number of hours that people are working, especially in a hybrid environment that we're still in today, right? With a little bit of work from home, a little bit of return to the office. It's a crazy world for people. And you as a leader are walking into that, getting up in the morning every day, knowing that that's what you're facing. And you've got a road ahead of you that you've got to keep everybody marching down to get and hit those objectives. And yeah, you get derailed every quarter of a mile. You're dealing with that. You come home and it's like, okay, you gotta shut down for a bit, right? So
On the money, you was rolling on a lot of the things, and I'm glad you said those Maxwell quotes as well, because I wanted to bring those up, but you did. There's a lot of content within that. I want to kind of shake the cage up a little bit with some, not controversial, but just holding other leaders accountable or where they may be falling short. I'm trying to see one of those statements you said that was kind of edgy. Hold on. Oh, I think it'd be good to share this story just since we're here. I think it'll fall into that. But you told me recently that about the CVS story. You ran into a woman who was working at CVS for like 26 years, I believe. And you told her that they never learned from the training modules. They never learned from what was being taught unless they had someone go in there and teach. And I think what you were trying to say there is like, you can give anyone a pamphlet or a book about leadership. There's so many books about it. But until you actually have someone actually take the time to present it and go through it, and like the modules and trainings you offer, that's when you're going to get your ahas, because it matters. So let's discuss that, because I really like that discussion.
yeah, that's a great story for me and what we're doing here at the company. And it goes to the heart of knowledge isn't training, and knowledge isn't growth. Knowledge is great. You need it to do those things, right? You have to have knowledge. It's important to continue to learn new things, new perspectives, new ideas. All of that is extremely, extremely important. But growth doesn't happen until you implement those things that you've learned, right? And it becomes a habit and becomes part of your style and what you do on a daily basis, and how you tackle situations and scenarios and challenges, and influence and dealing with people. So when I was on Facebook Marketplace looking for books to start filling up the library up front, right in the front office there, I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I found this nice woman who had all kinds of books, and I was like, man, that's a lot of leadership and growth books for one person to have on Facebook Marketplace, right? So anyways, I got in contact with her, and she had been on vacation, and so we set up a time when she was coming back, and I went over to the house there to meet her, and I was buying all of her books, just filling the library. And she's like, she said, why are you buying all these books? and I told her, you know, I'm setting up an office here in Fredericksburg up off of Route 3. And, you know, we're going to be doing leadership development and training, coaching, speaking. And I'm in the front of this office in our waiting area up front. I'm trying to build this library. I'm putting some nice chairs for people to sit in, and it's just a place where folks can come and relax for a little bit, chill out from the busy day, and read, you know, read about personal development and leadership. And she's like, oh wow, that's, you know, that's really cool. So as we got to talking, I learned that so she's retired. She had spent 20 plus years in management in retail. She worked for two major chains, and of course, one she felt was more committed to personal growth and leadership growth than the other. Um, and so when she was at that organization, mostly she would get these books, and they would go through the books and mark them up and learn that way. Um, but you know, the key point that she told me, which is kind of the moral of the story, she said, you know, it's really nice to hear that you're doing this here locally, because we never grew more than when we had somebody from outside of our organization come in to talk and teach us. Because what happens is when you have people from inside of the organization doing the teaching, coaching, mentorship stuff, it's propagating the same internal culture, thoughts, and beliefs over and over and over again. It's not injecting anything really new into the mix. And again, books are good, books are knowledge, but it, you got to have some level of accountability and self accountability to be able to implement that. And if there's one key thing that I think I have found that almost every human that I've met is not great at, it's self accountability. Right? We kind of shy away from it depending on what the topic is, you know, what we're trying to hold ourselves accountable for, right? We have a lot of excuses for ourselves as to why that's not going to happen today or ever. But it's so true. It's so important that you bring in outside perspectives and outside eyes too into the organization. And it comes back to see what's good, maybe what's not so great, and what can be improved on from a culture and leadership perspective in the organization, and that can be adapted into the training as well, right? And so, you know, I was really appreciative of that conversation with her, because it really gave legitimacy. um I mean, we know that we have a solid mission here at Blue Stallion, but it gave legitimacy to that mission from somebody that was totally unexpected, right? And she wasn't a client. She's, you know, she's just somebody that I was picking up some used books from to help fill up a library, and I got that, you know. So that was super cool. But yeah.
Great story and great iteration, just tying that all back to your mission and how that encounter just led you to really believe, like, well, this is why I'm doing it for, because it's the exact reason. Let's that got me on track. What do you think is like the biggest mistake in leadership that you see? What's the biggest mistake that someone makes about leadership?
Not staying authentic to themselves.
Talk about that and why that's important with leadership, Rob.
You know, so for me, when I look back at a lot of leadership challenges that I've had in my career, spanning multiple markets, whether it be, you know, food service, retail, in the military, in government contracting, you know, whatever it might be, I think that a lot of people, a lot of leaders fall into the trap of conforming in to the extent that is ultimately detrimental to the employee base and even the leaders around them. And so I think that, and a lot of that I think has to do with the self accountability piece and also lack of honest reflection, right? But that's the biggest mistake that I see people make. If you're just drinking the Kool-Aid and you know that it's the wrong flavor, you've got a choice to make. And that I get that choice could be huge. It could be detrimental to your livelihood even. I if it gets to that point, I understand, but generally speaking, that can derail an entire organization or shift the course of an entire organization without anybody even really realizing it at the high levels. So I think it's important that you stay authentic to yourself, and you know what your values are, what your beliefs are, and if you can't influence enough within the organization to change those key things, I think that's when you have to start asking the question of, well, is this really where I need to be? Am I in the right spot? Am I in the right organization? Right? Or can I go benefit another one that aligns more to my thinking? And I don't advocate that as like a first reaction by any means, right? I mean, we make these decisions based on a lot of thought and a lot of events and culmination and a lot of trying to make it work in different ways and influencing different ways, right? But at the end of the day, if you're being forced to change your morals, your ideals as a human being, and you know that it's going to have a negative effect on the employee base, and you can't change that, you can't influence that, you've got a choice to either go down that path of drinking that Kool-Aid or saying, sorry, but thank you, but no thank you.
Want to grab that camera?
Good job. Great job. I'm gonna get to one more before. This is great though. Like I can already tell you got a whole bunch of talking pieces within all these clusters.
I appreciate you. And I was like, wow, you're a super nice guy.
Of course, man. We're locked in, man. Like,
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And this will tie you over till we get to our session. But I just want to leave on one more that I think is great. You have a lot of you've attained a lot of information and you've gained a lot of knowledge in your lifelong learning journey from where you started in the military to probably even before that, but into the food retail business and to the leadership position you're in now. If you were to talk to a young professional Rob, like a young, let's say high school Rob, and you could give one piece of advice to just like get their wheels moving a little bit more to get ahead in this workforce and to be the best they can be, what would that advice be?
Become a student of leadership now. I mean, if you're playing sports, take it serious from the leadership perspective. Figure out how to become a leader. Figure out how to influence. Learn those skills that pour into the leadership development as early as possible. Take them seriously and implement them in your life. Don't wait to face the hard challenges that you're going to face in adulthood in your career to learn those. But we tell the youngsters that we tell the youngsters a lot, right? And we know that unfortunately, just as we did, a lot of us have all learned the hard way. They'll learn the hard way. But you know, if you can wrap your head around as a young learner becoming a student of leadership at the earliest age possible, that will without a doubt benefit you throughout not just your career, but your life. You'll be a better friend, you'll be a better parent, you know, you'll be a better colleague, you'll be a better impact to anybody and everything that you touch. The more you learn and invest in becoming a leader early on. You know, at John's last Maxwell conference that I attended, they did a trip to the Dominican Republic, to an impoverished, let's say, community, and they taught them leadership, and they brought this young lady. She was, I think, 15 and a half or 16. They brought her to the conference, and let me tell you, this young woman lit the room up. She was nervous, but she didn't show it. And she had a story to tell, and she had bit the growth of leadership, you know, hook, line, and sinker, and she was exuding it at this conference. And that was amazing to see, because seeing her for the first time, just first impressions, listening to her, how serious she's taking it and learning and adapting that and implementing that in her life, that she's going to rise, and we're going to, you don't leave talking to her not thinking you're going to see her again someday, whether it's in person, on TV, leading a nation, leading a company, or you are going to see her again, right? And I think that it has a lot to do with the fact that she is biting into that and learning very young, and understanding that these principles of leadership and that growth trajectory, it can overcome just about any challenge that you're going to face in life, whether it's tragedy, vices, it will help you. And even if you go off the path, we all do, right? But those principles being ingrained in you young will also help you get back on track. So, super important.
Bomb diggity, Rob. You talked about 5 things. I know there's a cluster of content within all of it, but you rocked it, man. Walking content machine like I envisioned. Every day is recording. So
Yeah.
once you send that to your marketing team, I have all the confidence that they'll be able to put these together and start unleashing them on your social platforms.
I got you right there.
Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you too, man.
How
Making this
how
happen.
was the reception to your Black Friday deal? Did you fill up or what?
I got 3 out of 5, which is great.
Good.
I got this esthetician that we're doing our deep dive tomorrow, Renew Wellness Spa, and then I had this jewelry shop who wanted to create. So I'm not mad at all. Shoot,
Yeah,
3 out
that's
of
good.
5. I'm chill, man. So yes,
That's
shout
good.
out to you. You're the first one who took the initiative. But yeah,
Oh, good.
it was great.
Is
I
that
was thinking about doing it on social media in the release, but I think I'll just stick with my email and just work on something for next year. But
yeah, isn't Renew my neighbor right here?
Yeah.
On the corner?
no, kinda. So this one, they spell it different. This is B Suarez and Woodbridge, because I got confused too. I met her in my BNI like years ago.
Okay.
And we just been on Facebook, being friends and stuff. And she actually saw the email, but I thought that for the longest too, because I'm like, yo, you got a franchise, but it's spelled different. Hers is spelled like NUEEW, because that's immediately one of the first things I said too, because I see you got one right there too.
Yeah, there's one right here. They do all kinds of stuff. So
Yep.
awesome,
But
brother.
yeah, awesome, man. So awesome for this. Be posted. I'm gonna give you our talking points of what I want to discuss, and then get you on the schedule in the next few weeks to record all the content. But hope this helps, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, Jamie. Really do.
Oh, okay, man. Have a great day. Bye, Shandell. Bye, Rob. Keep
See
it
ya.
awesome. Do it the
You're
Blue
safe.
Stallion way, baby. Yeah.
You're setting calendar for the next month. Appreciate it.
No problem. Talk to you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.